did this, and I've discovered this is her perspective. The Lord did this. So I've discovered that bitterness is always near when we perceive that the Lord was the source of our loss. Has anybody ever, you don't have to raise your hand on this, I know you don't want to anyway, but have you ever thought about a situation you were dealing with and blamed it on the Lord? I mean, the Lord did this. Doing without in and of itself won't necessarily cause us to become bitter. But when we allow the thought to creep in our mind to say that the Lord is the reason the marriage didn't last, the Lord is the reason the job didn't work out, the Lord is the reason that the loved one didn't make it, wasn't healed, the Lord is the reason, God did this. When we let that settle into our mind, we create the perfect environment for an atmosphere, an attitude of bitterness. Now, I know about Naomi and I know about Jessie, but I wonder if anybody's ever looked at your life and said, the Lord Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. You don't say it like that, but what you do say is, God didn't heal mama. God didn't answer my prayer for that position. God didn't make them extend my loan. That's what we say. God did this to me. That's what she was thinking, and that sounds like she's in the middle of a deep end experience. And if we're facing a deep end today, we've got to be careful to keep our mind set on the things above. And that's why the Bible says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report and full of virtue, if they are praiseworthy, think on these things. Because I don't care who you are, how much you talk in tongues, you can cover yourself in oil till you slide down the pew. I don't care who you are. If you're not careful, life can hand you a situation that will get you so angry that the God that you serve allowed you to go through it. You'll be angry with God for allowing the deep end. So Naomi was so bitter that she didn't want to be called who she was. Don't miss this. She didn't want to be called who she was. Have you ever been so broken inside about a certain area of your life that every time you're reminded about who you are or who you're destined to become, it's more of an irritation than a motivation? People come and say, how's that business idea going? And you don't want to talk nothing about the business because the doors that you thought would open quickly shut in your life. So you don't even want to talk about the business. Don't come and talk about the business. Somebody come up talking about you a millionaire. Well, how's the new millionaire? And you take it as mockery instead of motivation because of the brokenness and bitterness inside. She didn't want to be called who she was. They start talking about how you were before you got fired, and you don't want to talk about that. How you're not the same person that you were before the divorce, and somehow your problems have changed your personality. Because in the deep end, when you're doing without, bitterness can take root if we don't resist it. We've got to resist it. So when we're doing without, we've got to be willing to review our options. We've got to resist bitterness. And then this is my favorite part. The third and final thing is we have to remember that we have a Redeemer. I couldn't leave you in the bitterness. You got to remember that you have a Redeemer. Look at chapter 4, verses 9 through 14 says, Then Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, Today you are witness that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his people or from his hometown. Today you are my witness. Stay with me. Then the elders and all the people at the gate said, We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Through the offspring the Lord gives you by the young woman, may your family be like Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. I read all that to read this. So Boaz took Ruth and she became his wife. When he made love to her, the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. The woman said to Naomi, the bitter one, Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. Let me read that again. Praise be to the Lord, who this day had not left you without a guardian redeemer.